Hi everybody. Okay, in this video I'm going to talk about YNR episode today. Okay, so I like the fact that the scripts or the storylines seem to work well with each other. So I like that because you start a storyline and you have some movement, and then you start another storyline or you keep going with other storyline. So there's always something new to see here. Okay, so today's big storyline was okay, Nate apparently, which I just found out last week. Maybe I'm late to the party with this, so excuse me if I am. But that Nate was adopted, and now his birth mother, Amy Lewis, is coming back to try to have a relationship with him. And at first, I said, why is she trying to have a relationship with him? That seems kind of odd. Because, yes, I have heard of people wanting to be reunited with their birth parent or birth children after a long absence. However, um, you know, I also believe that when you get to be a certain age and you're an adult, you should be able to decide what you want to do, whichever way you want to go, right? So I said, okay, well, it seems kind of odd. And then it came out that very shortly after that, she has, I think they said leukemia as a diagnosis. So I'm sorry, my throat isn't in yet. Um, okay, so they said she has that as a diagnosis, so that means she has limited time. Okay, so then we have some involvement of the story. Now, supposedly, he has a brother that he never knew about, and the brother's father isn't his father, isn't his biological father. Only the brother doesn't know that. And so Amy Lewis told Nate that he was the only one. She made it sound like he was the only one that she thought he could get through to him, the other brother. Okay. Which I find kind of odd. And then I jumped on because when she said, well, um, you know, I know we're strangers, but I feel like I know you. I immediately jumped into, no, okay, we are strangers. I have never met you before, or if I have, it's been a very long time. So in my mind, that makes us strangers. Anything else is like you trying to pacify yourself and say that we're closer than we are. And then I just completely rejected that whole thing. Um, but then she explained the story with the brother, and apparently he had a good life, but he lost his dad, or the guy he thinks is his dad, and that totally derailed him emotionally and probably mentally. And so he's not the person he was before. That doesn't excuse his behavior, but that kind of explains it slightly. Um, okay, so there's that. Then we have Tracy and Alan. Now, this is another couple, and a couple that I like because I know the history of Tracy a bit. And I kind of feel like she could be me because I'm the youngest kid in my family, and also I'm kind of different than most people besides my disability. So I feel like I'm not heard a lot of the time. And so um, when you find someone, or when I find someone that I feel like I can connect with, I celebrate it and it's a big deal because it rarely happens. And she seems to be that kind of person because she seems to be thoughtful and smart and caring and all the things wrapped in one. But she needed someone to be on her intellectual level. And so she finally found that in Alan. And so I'm jumping up and down for her. So the part that was the movement is he's going to move into her house, the Abbott Mansion. And the hiccup was she had asked or kind of suggested before, and he seemed gung ho at the time. So I'm like, okay, there's going to be some movement. There's going to be, and then there was a stall. And so she said, yeah, it feels like you're stalling. And I'm like, yes, it feels like he's stalling. But then he elaborated as to why he's stalling. And it wasn't that, it was that he felt like his presence would remind Ashley of his brother, who they happen to be twin brothers, and the characters, And so he didn't want to derail her improvement. But then Tracy said the same thing I said, which is they just want me happy. And if you make me happy, they'll be fine with it. So I was like, yes. So we have that. Also, we have Abby and Devon's wedding to look forward to sometime this month. It's supposed to coincide with Abby's birthday, but I don't know exactly what the date is. I think they said November 13th, but I'm not sure if they can pull it off. If that's true, I'm not sure they can pull it off in a little over a week. Now, granted, they have television and television budget and everything, but I don't know, it might be iffy here. Um, okay. Oh, and then the big coup de grace today for me, or the piece de resistance, whichever you want, is let's see. Um, Billy was begging Lily to come back. I mean, begging. Okay. He says, I know I did you wrong, and I know that all this stuff, but here I am, hat in hand, asking you to forgive me. And I'm like, I would say no, no. And she didn't say no, but she said, I've heard everything I need to hear, and I don't think so. So it wasn't a no, but it was like as close to a no without saying the word as you can get. So there's that. And then, of course, and this is kind of interesting here. Um, Michelle Stafford. Okay, I gotta say, Michelle Stafford is great. Anyway, I saw her in a movie, a television movie, like Mother, Like Daughter. I'll do a review on that in the coming days, but she's great. Okay, because she has range, and I appreciate range. Okay, so the last scene is she's at a bar and she's talking to the bartender. And at first, I thought the bartender wasn't there because I was like, well, I don't see anybody. And it didn't really shock me at first because I was like, well, maybe they're doing one of those monologues where you're doing a monologue, but it's like you're talking to yourself. Now, that doesn't happen very often, but I have seen it. So I know it does happen. And so I'm like, maybe she's talking to herself. And also, you know what they say? Well, they say two things about wine in vino veritas, which means in wine there is truth, number one. And number two, for some reason, most people are very honest with their bartenders when they can't be honest with other people. I don't know why that is, but I've heard that a lot. So, and then at the very last minute, with like, I don't know, 2 minutes to go, seriously, or maybe a little bit longer than that, we see a face to the bartender. So I'm like, okay, she's actually talking to somebody. All right, that's cool. And then she says the last four words she says is, I have a plan. Yeah. So I have a plan. Oh, and I have to mention this. Now this is going to be tomorrow actually. So they're going to have Heather's funeral tomorrow. So I'd say get ready for some fireworks. That's just my, you know, my suspicion here. But yeah, I think it's gonna go down tomorrow. So be prepared. All right, I guess